Okay, so thank you very much. Evan, you have quite a crowd here around you. So we just get started. But for all of you, I wanted to start today with a statement of love, actually, because I think that's what it's all about for all of us. What do we all really love? And I definitely love life. Yeah, and I think that all of us, especially here, we've heard a lot about optimism, feel that way. I really love DLD.
We met
it's a place where people can come, say what they think, say what they believe, what they're committed to. And I also love the motto of the event this time, which is, what are you adding? And I like that because there's really two questions about what you're adding. First of all, what do you have? What are your assets that are part of that you own? Yeah. The second thing is, what are you combining that with? Yeah. And so those two questions is something that we all have to look at. This is hopefully the panel where what you do on Monday morning when you get up. Yeah, because there's been a lot of talk about how do we fix things, how do we get the next things going. And I'd like to introduce to you all today the Global Survival Sprint, which is something that's been founded by the Social Entrepreneurship Academy, which is from the LMU Entrepreneurship Center, the TU Munich, and the Hochschule from Munich. And I'd just like to say that when I think about valuable assets, the first asset that I think about is the UN. And the UN has given us the Sustainable Development Goals, and we've heard about that from our Siemens speaker. And the UN has also given us a warning. And the warning that they've given us is that if we don't fix things in the next 12 years, and that warning came 2 years ago, that we're going to have about $54 trillion worth of damage to our people and planet. And if you look at that number, that's the entire GDP of China and the United States put together for 2 consecutive years. And if we wonder if there's really going to be that damage, I guess we can look at what's happened in Australia and ask those 500 million animals. Yeah, and so the Global Survival Sprint is something that we're proud to announce today. The Global Survival Sprint is an executional framework for combining assets. So this is really about what to do to fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations and to transform the global economy at a rate for which there is no historic precedent. And that's what the UN told us, is that it is possible to avoid the damage. It's just that we have to do it at a rate for which there's no precedent. And so the framework that we've come up with, the idea is to say, we have the assets, we have the answers, they're out there. We have to look for them. And so the first thing that we're setting up is it's going to be a complete platform which will launch on October 20th and will run for 1 decade, is to scout, to look for the assets that are out there to solve the problems. And then second, to match those assets with the people who are committed to making them happen. The next step of the framework is to model, to actually put together investable business plans that can create these and turn them into new businesses. And then to co-create, to actually form new companies and to bring the stakeholders together, the asset owners, in a way that they haven't been together before, and then to go out and actually build. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is really, I hope today, Entrepreneurship Live on stage for you. And this is also something that all of you can get involved in. So the Survival Sprint will begin on October 1st, 2020, and it will run until September 30th, 2030. That means 40 quarters. Yeah, so we need to get moving. Exactly 1 decade. And if you would like to become a founding initiator, along with the Social Entrepreneurship Academy and along with the people who are on stage today, there's a deadline on the 31st, but you can reach out immediately. As of today, the website is live. If you go on and send us an email, we would love to understand what your assets are. And just remember that all of this begins with a vision. And so what we're also going to talk today is about where do our visions come from. In order to do that, I'd like to invite my panelists up with me right now to talk to you. And come on up, please. Christian Bruch from Linde. Thank you, Christian, CEO of Linde. Catharina van Delden from Innosabi. And our two guests, Adam and Raf from Red Bull. Come on up and give them a big hand, please. Raf, I think you're going to jump right in with a vision, yeah?
Yes.
Tell us what is about Sci-Fi.
Exactly. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for having us. The project that I'm about to introduce to you actually came up a couple of years ago when we were discussing about positive futures with our friends from the Future Institute based in Hamburg. And what we saw was that a lot of the technologies that we see coming up today, they were actually thought decades ago. 2 or 3 decades ago in the sci-fi industry. Just take as an example Star Trek. That's when we first saw the 3D printers, or even 2001 Space Odyssey, where we saw the first iPads or the little screens on the back of airplane seats. The problem, though, is that when we look at the sci-fi industry today, we only see, or we mostly see, negative or dystopian visions of the future. Think of Black Mirror, for example. I don't think this is a future that anybody here wants to live in, right? So that's how Red Bull Future was born. We wanted to invite creatives from around the world to share their visions of a desirable future. And the result was pretty overwhelming. We got over 1,000 applications from 43 different countries. And we put together a panel of experts to go through all of these 1,000 ideas and kind of funnel to the top 20 to join us in an academy that happened last year in Lisbon, Portugal. Out of this academy, we picked the most inspiring idea, which was an idea from Christian Ion. He's a young creative Romanian based out of Berlin, and he came up with this very interesting vision of a future where clean energy would be generated from human-centered technology that is able to convert emotions, so human emotions, into energy, clean energy. And clean energy being such a hot topic today and in this conference, I guess the project couldn't be more fitting to nowadays. And back on the side of films inspiring new generations and new technologies, the prize for him was actually to turn his vision into a Red Bull Media House production, which had Adam here as the executive producer.
So the culmination of Red Bull Future I.O. was the realization, in the form of a scripted drama, of the winner, Christian's benign vision for our future with technology. He began by submitting a short film which focused on contact and communication, dreams, and equality of opportunity. From there, he evolved his concept to a specific human-centered technology which converts emotion, both positive and negative, into clean energy, zooming in on the most pressing imperative of our times. And so, as Jim was talking before, it's very much a relevant problem and a truly ambitious one. So we at Red Bull Media House translated that core concept into a short film, envisaging a near-future scenario where entertainment centers provide emotive experiences, both for fun and for energy-generating purposes. The story world that we built portrays a future where technology is not fearful or dystopian, but people-centric, benign, and exciting. And again, in Jim's words from earlier on, an inspiring dream. What we're about to show you is just a sneaky peek of our film, which is currently in the edit. It's a work in progress, which will be finished next month. But hopefully this will serve as a useful springboard for the discussion and the conversation that's to follow. And also as an emblem of the roles of creativity and imagination in technological and human progress. So this is a clip where we first meet our two main characters, a rather closed man who's been charged with calibrating the energy wristband of a new employee. You may recognize the actor. He played the young Alan Turing in the Hollywood movie The Imitation Game. Turing was a perfect exponent of the importance of being open and imaginative in the quest of solutions, in the way that Red Bull Future I/O found a promising young creative mind and vision like Christian's, perhaps one of Jim's new leaders. So, as Turing said, sometimes it is the people no one can imagine anything of who do the things no one can imagine. So on those resonant words, I'd like to ask them to, the gentleman over there to play the video, please.
So, emotive engineer, that's some job title. Must be a bit of a hit with the ladies. You know, like being all emotional and stuff.
Have you had your Dermadrol long?
No, it's fairly new. But I'm excited to join the conductive community.
We'll run you through some experiences, make sure that you're all set. You start tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah. So what's your poison then? You know, what would you recommend for a newcomer? You must be in and out the experiences all the time. Or not.
What sim are you working on?
Oh, I'm a bit more old school. I'm a dancer.
Really?
Yeah. Emotion is movement, you know. Oliveira. Dance is the physical embodiment of emotion, and what better way to get people generating than have them physically connecting, you know, by dancing. That, and it's fun, right?
Yeah. Maybe not quite as effective as a fear sim, for example, but fun.
You should get involved.
Don't think so.
Oh, hey, newbie. How's it going? Thea making you feel welcome?
Yeah. We were just talking about dancing.
Oh, you're another dance teacher, right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna come check it out. You know, I've got some moves, huh?
Anton, this is Chloe. We're going to be checking out Chloe's implant today.
Right. Have you ever been in one of these things before?
No.
Well, brace yourself, because your nervous system won't know what hit it. It tends to overcompensate on its first experience.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen people walk away with a week's worth of energy after their first outing.
Okay. So what we're talking about is putting up a platform where ideas, not just sci-fi ideas, but real hard assets that people have, that each of you, as your companies, as individuals, have access to, and can actually put those together on a global basis. This will be put on a calendar so that we can see for the first time across the globe what are all the different programs that are out there which can absolutely help us to achieve those UN goals. And then there will be a map so we can see where, so that people will understand when they want to get involved, where is it that they should actually go. I'm happy to announce that all of this is going to be on the innosabi platform, and maybe you want to give us a bit of a sense of that.
I'd love to. Well, I can only give back that we're equally as happy to be part of a project. I believe in its importance. And actually, the first time you pitched it to me, I felt that it really resonated with our vision. We want to connect sparks of genius. That means we believe that ideas, that knowledge is really distributed, and that truly everybody can have a good idea and should be heard for it, should be integrated into innovation processes. And we at innosabi, we are building technology for companies to do that, to drive innovation in an ecosystem, to connect their innovation initiatives. Just yesterday, we talked about the operating system for innovation in companies. And actually, I was really happy to catch Jim after his talk, because Siemens is our beta customer for doing so. And when you pitch to me, there are so many programs driving innovation in startup initiatives, etc., and they need to be more connected. They need to combine their assets. I was like, I'm all in. This is what we're doing, and I'm really, really happy to be part of the project.
So I think if we have a major corporate on the stage here as well with us, and I think that Christian, the project that we've talked about before, maybe you want to give us a little bit of sense of that, where we're talking about taking major assets of a company, but realizing that this asset that I have is not going to be enough to create the kind of business, to create the kind of venture that is actually going to make a difference on the planet.
Yeah, thanks very much. So I probably present more the reality from the sci-fi and reality piece there. As much as it's important, I think, to work on sci-fi stuff, looking forward, what could come as new technologies, I think we have to be aware, if we want to have an impact on climate change, we need to act now. Next decade is decisive. And we have billions and billions and billions of assets in the industry sitting. We are active to produce industrial gases. This actually is something which is not seen, but is normally used in every production process. So we have plants, big industrial plants, sitting all over the globe. What we did, and I think this project you're referring to, together with other industrial companies, with research centers together, is to find ways on how to take CO2 from the production processes, combine it with renewable hydrogen, produce new chemicals with it, to get a circular way of chemistry and energy into this, to make sure it's less CO2 critical than any process before. And as I think Jim said before, all these technologies which are required for this are available. And we get these, let's say, by getting these different people together, it was possible really to build it and create it. But it also meant that we all had a different role than before, right? It was not a classical supplier-customer relationship. We all took a different setup. And still, I think the struggle is, how can we multiply it? How can we scale it up? Because one thing is missing. What is the difference in value, what is then created in these type of projects? To get more the CO2 piece in it, the acceptance by society. And I think this is why such a platform, which combines completely different views, will be a necessity to drive forward innovations which are actually there today, with assets which are there today, but which are not scaled up fast enough. And in this regard, I think getting completely different type of people into this process will be instrumental.
Yeah, and I think that one of the issues that we have is that we don't see them today. We don't know where to find these assets. So there are obviously tens of thousands of companies out there that have spent millions building technology, building solutions for the future. There are students that are out there looking for, what am I going to be doing next? Where do I go? And that's exactly what the platform is about, is actually quarter by quarter bringing people together and then turning those into real business opportunities, which can be put together and then bring an investment community in. That would happen in the co-creation, take actual and turn it into real businesses, and then go out and start to build. And I think that you have also some great programs running where you have young people who are looking, but they don't know where to find the next step.
Yeah. Red Bull Future is an example of a long-term kind of inspirational project, but we do have others that focus more on the now. So, for example, last month we were just in Toronto welcoming, a lot of promising startups from 20 different countries that are using technology to improve their campus life. It's a project called Red Bull Basement University. But what I wanted to mention, you mentioned about getting different people in, and I think from my side we are on a position today where we have access into over 3,000 universities through our field marketing program. So I think it's about joining forces where we can get programs as you guys are doing, and then using our workforce to get those to the university and bringing these creatives to work together on different problems. As you said earlier today, Adam, innovation is about joining the dots and different people, and I think we can...
Yeah, I mean, coming from a sort of creative discipline, I would say the very essence of creativity is about connecting. It's about connecting people, it's about connecting ideas, it's about connecting approaches and techniques. And the thing that you find is when you bring elements from disparate areas together, that is when you get the strongest creativity. The more distant they tend to be normally, they just create a greater spark. And the other thing from our discipline really is, the producer mindset is to get stuff done now. And that really sort of resonates with me, because ideas are basically 10 a penny. Everyone's got millions of them. They only become valuable when you actually realize them. So the emphasis on getting stuff done now is very resonant.
Yeah. Andy, you were so kind to really introduce the project to us, but that didn't really give you kind of the chance to be asked. So what actually is your role as Deloitte Digital in it?
Okay, it's not really about Deloitte Digital. It's about business building.
Yeah.
It's about venture building. It's about bringing people together, whether it's a Deloitte Digital Ventures or a BCG or a McKinsey. It doesn't really matter. What it's about is, it's about that if we wait right now until we have the next great startup that is going to take 7 to however long, 10 years to actually scale, we're going to really run out of time. And the idea is now to look out into on the planet and find out where are the assets that we have, to put them together in a way that they haven't been put together in the past. And that's actually what business building is about. It's about, very quickly, for those of you who might have heard Martin Sorrell last night, it's about having one person who was WPP, a large advertising agency, was able to pull together 35 million euros and bring together a number of companies, and in 18 months was able to create a value in the billions. So in a way, what we're looking at is we need to have one of our largest private equity moves happen now, where we bring young people, but also startups in who have perhaps not been successful enough and are looking to say, how do we get to the next level? Put that together with corporate assets. And I think you see that there's a big thirst also, Christian, for working together with young companies, but there needs to be a format for it.
Absolutely, and I would hope this will be my expectation on this platform. We need to understand that we need to tie in all parts of society, corporates, whatever. It's a bigger discussion what we're having. If the problem could be solved by corporates alone, irrespective whether they move fast or slow or whatever, then it could be handled. But we only change something, for example, on climate change, if we really, as a society, have a deliberate discussion. How do we want to live? How do we influence it? How do we communicate it? And we will need universities, startups, corporations on a platform to have this discussion, because otherwise we continue to stay in our own framework of running a business. And this is not going to work. And this is what visibility and platform can bring, and hopefully then also give us the right measures for building it and implementing it. This would be my hope, and definitely we need this interaction.
Yeah, and so I think maybe we just go around one at a time and maybe speak up your own commitment for the joining the survival sprint. And ladies first.
Thank you so much. Well, we at Innosabi are more than happy to provide the technology underlying for the global survival sprint. That means that our technology will connect several programs, initiatives, data, people, basically in order to drive innovation, in order to really fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals.
Great.
I'll take the lead. Red Bull is about giving wings to people and ideas, so I think a platform as such could be a great tool, and we can really help on the first 2 phases of the program, on scouting and matching and really driving penetration to that.
And Christian?
Yeah, obviously we have a lot of technology, we have a lot of assets, and definitely will personally take care of making sure that particular on the model and build really phase, we can contribute and want to contribute and tie in also the startups into solving our, let's say, problems which we all trying to tackle, which is largely around getting our world more productive. So I will definitely personally also be involved in making sure that something after 10 years, when we sit here in 2030, we can really say we have changed something.
So I'd like to invite all of you to have a look at globalsurvivalsprint.com. Let us know if you're interested. We're going to be kicking off October 1st every quarter for the next 40 quarters to actually try to transform the global economy at a rate for which there is no historical precedence. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks.